Story time about how I did the dirty with my crush's brother just to get him jealous. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. I just turned 23 years old and I've been in love with the same guy for 5 years. This guy, let's call him Chad. He's always said to me that he doesn't want a girlfriend, but then he'll call me at night for, you know what? I decided to ghost him for a month just to see what would happen, but he didn't even contact me. This obviously hurt my feelings because I was totally in love with him. I would have given anything to be in a serious relationship with him, but all he wanted was to party and hang out with other girls too. He started posting other girls to his story and it made me furious. I couldn't believe that he was doing that to me, but at the same time I couldn't hold it against him. Nonetheless, I was brokenhearted. I decided to date a few guys, but nothing worked. All I kept thinking about was stupid Chad. A little backstory about Chad. He has two brothers, one is older and one is younger. The older one is really attractive, and he's also liked me for a very long time, but he also knows that I'm totally in love with Chad, so he never really tried to talk to me because of that. Let's call him Jake. I decided to slide into Jake's DMs, and I told him that I thought he was really hot. He replied right away. Then he said that he had always had a crush on me, but he thought that I was in love with Chad. I lied and told him that I didn't have feelings for Chad, and that I was totally free to date and see whoever I wanted. He wasted no time and asked me out on a date. We ended up having a picnic on the beach for our first date. It was actually super romantic and really nice. We spent about 6 hours at the beach, and of course, I needed to make Chad jealous, so I took pictures with Jake and posted them to my story. A minute after I posted them, Chad started messaging me. He's asking me why I'm with his brother, so I simply responded by saying that he had no right to ask me anything. Then he calls me, but I decided to ignore the call. And suddenly, Jake kissed me. He said he'd been wanting to do that for a long time, and honestly, I really liked it. After Jake kissed me, I see I have 5 missed calls from Chad, and I pretty much ignored him the entire night. Jake took me home and nothing else happened. Next morning, I wake up to a missed call from Chad, and also a voice memo. In the voice memo, he starts telling me that he misses me and that he really wants to see me again. My plan was just to completely ignore him, but I caved. I sent him a voice memo back saying that if he wanted something serious with me, that I would totally consider it. Otherwise, I didn't want him to talk to me. He then left me on red. Yep, that's right. He ghosted me again. That's when I called Jake and asked him if he wanted to come over to my place. By the way, at this point, I don't really have feelings for Jake, and I'm totally aware that I was just using him, which I do feel bad for, but it worked. Jake came over and we ordered pizza. We sat down to watch a movie, but of course I pulled out my phone and started posting to my stories. Once again, Chad replies asking me why his brother is at my house, and that's when I really decided to ignore him. I left him on red, and boy did it feel good. Then I see a text from Chad saying I'm coming over. Chad tells me that he's coming over to my place because he's super jealous. I have no choice but to tell Jake to leave, but Jake was super sweet about it and he said he totally understood. He gave me a kiss and left. Not even 2 minutes later, Chad shows up at my door. He comes in and starts asking me questions about his brother and I. Told him he had no right to be jealous or to even ask me any questions because he didn't want a relationship. Then he tried to kiss me and I couldn't resist. We started to kiss and before I knew it, we were, you know. After it was over, I came to my senses and told him to leave. Of course, he pretended to be outraged. He told me that he couldn't believe that I was treating him this way. And that's when I said, well, you've been treating me this way for the past 5 years. He had no comeback. Once again, I asked him to leave and he did. A few hours later, I go to Chad's story and he's hanging out with 2 girls. All I could do was cry. So I knew I needed to one-up him. The following night, I go out with his brother and we do it. I posted a picture of his arm in my bed and this sent Chad into a rage. He calls me, but I ignored all the phone calls. That's when I knew I had to tell Jake to go home before Chad showed up. I pretended to feel sick and asked Jake if he could go home. Chad shows up once again to my house. He asked me if anything happened between his brother and I, and of course I said yes. Out of nowhere, he asked me to be his girlfriend. He tells me that this whole time he's actually been in love with me, but that he couldn't see it, and that he couldn't stand the thought of me being with anyone else. I've been dating Chad for 2 months now, but he's super jealous and possessive. I basically ghosted Jake, but he didn't really say anything. I think he knew what was happening, but Chad doesn't even let us speak. I'm having second thoughts about this relationship. What should I do?
Story time on how my mom was jealous of my beauty and I ended up bald because of it. Okay, so boom, let's get right into it. I love my mom so much, but unfortunately, my mom has some insecurities that's pushing us apart. Ever since I was a little girl, everyone said I was so pretty and I should act or model. It always made me happy, and at first, it seemed like my mom was happy too. But something took a turn as I got older and started developing. It's as if my mother took me more so as competition. I'm 16 now and she gets annoyed every time I'm complimented, even when it's by my own dad who is no longer with her. But my mom jealousy went too far when she started purposely attempting to make me unattractive, starting by cutting off all my hair. I cried, but I couldn't do anything to stop her. I have bad acne that I'm controlling with my skincare regimen, but my mom stopped buying it for me now. Now I'm bald with acne. But worst of all, my mom took all, and when I say all, she took all my cute clothes and donated them. I cried and begged my mom not to, and she said that it's for a good cause. I screamed at her saying, I know what you're doing, you're just jealous and trying to make me look ugly. She told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Then she grounded me. I told my dad what my mom was doing, and he screamed at her for me, calling her sick in the head. I started living with my dad and grew my hair back and fixed my skin, and I'm back to wearing cute clothes thanks to my dad. I see my mom from time to time, but I gotta love her from a distance.
Story time about how I tried to stick up for this kid on the bus, but it got me suspended. So a little background information, I was 12 and in 7th grade. So it was a Wednesday, and when school ended, I got on the afternoon bus. And there was this boy named Josh that I was friends with, so I went and I sat next to him on the bus. After like 5 minutes of us waiting for the bus driver to get back on the bus, this boy named Kai, that everybody loves for some reason, comes over and rips me out of the seat. After that, he sits down next to Josh and starts punching him and screaming at him. So I grab this kid by his book bag, rip him out of the seat, and I sit next to Josh. I put my headphones in, plug in my phone, and this kid grabs the phone, throws it at the front of the bus. And there weren't any adults on the bus at this time because our bus driver was using the bathroom. And I didn't go up and get my phone because I knew that if I moved, this kid was probably going to hurt Josh again. This kid is starting to try to punch me, so I punch him in the stomach. Finally, an adult gets on the bus. She yells at us to all sit down. And by the way, all the little fucking 12-year-olds had their phones out recording what was happening. So they look at the cameras, they were interviewing some of the kids. And Josh's sister comes up to me, and I was like, oh, shit. Hopefully, she's not going to yell at me. I don't know why she would, but still. She was like, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for sticking up for my brother. So then after a little bit, I hear my name get called on the speaker. Kai, Josh, and I were all called down to the office. All of our parents were there. Kai got a 3-day suspension, and I got a 3-week suspension. Even though I literally had scratches all over my freaking arms, and Kai didn't even have a bruise on him. Well, my mom, being the boss-ass bitch that she is, she told the school that if they went through with my suspension, she would call the news and tell them that my school was letting kids get away with bullying.
The wedding hasn't even happened yet and everything's already a train wreck. Okay, so this girl I know from high school is getting married. We are both 22 for reference. In our senior year of high school, she got pregnant with baby daddy A, who we referred to as Adam. Her super conservative parents kicked her out and she ended up moving in with a friend's family. She barely graduated high school. The only reason she did was because of the generosity and support of our teachers and students who volunteered to help her, which is how we met. We were in the same law class in the morning and she had the worst morning sickness that really affected her ability to be in class. So I took extra notes for her, tutored her, and brought her stuff if she hadn't come back by the bell. I wasn't the only one who did stuff like this for her, and I know she really appreciates all the assistance we gave her. She had the baby a month after we graduated. She signed up for a 911 dispatcher course for after high school, because where we live it's a good steady job, with opportunity for certificates and promotions. But she didn't realize how intensive the course would be and had to drop out. She started working at a grocery store bakery, just until she had a better plan. Adam started an apprenticeship while working part-time at a hockey rink and proposed to her literally the day of her 80th birthday and brought up marriage because it's the right thing to do. I don't really agree with that, but it isn't about me, and she was always refusing. She started cheating on him after a while, we're all 19 now, and eventually leaves him for another guy because she's pregnant again, and it is far more likely that this guy, baby daddy B, who will be referred to as Brad, is the father of the child. Neither of them can afford lawyers, so getting any kind of custody agreement is a mess, and their parents got involved and they did a 50-50 split, still not made official. She has the baby that does turn out to be Brad's, and everything is okay for about 9 months, when she finds out Brad has been cheating on her with his TA. Brad decides to pay child support but doesn't really want contact with the kid, only around holidays and one weekend a month for his parents' sake. She moves back in with her parents, we're all 20 now, who only accept her back because there's grandchildren around. On the plus side, when she's 21, she gets to take that year-long dispatcher course and passes with flying colours. After working as a dispatcher for a year, we're all 22 now, she meets a police officer we'll call Chad, who's 26 and married, and Adam's second, I think, cousin. I can't remember how they related, just that Adam and Chad are related somewhat distantly. She has an affair with him. Infidelity is super common among cops apparently. She gets knocked up, his wife divorces him. Chad proposes because it's the right thing to do. She accepts and her parents kick her out again for being a insert expletive here. She moves in with Chad with her 2 kids. They've started planning the wedding, which, given the background, is something akin to a dumpster fire. Adam is livid. He was desperately in love with this girl and hasn't really recovered from what she did to him. And while she rejected his proposals years ago, she accepted one from his cousin who proposed for the same reason he did. Adam basically made a call for loyalty in the family, dividing everyone who should go, who should give money, etc. Plus they're having trouble planning anything because of COVID. Her parents have outright said they are not going, along with half of her family, and her younger sister has been going around and sabotaging what plans they can make. She has asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said that I couldn't because I live in a different province now. But the truth is, I do not want to be wrapped up in that clusterfuck in any way. I'm just watching the arguments and events unfold on social media because this is quite honestly the most entertaining thing I've seen all year. It's weird to me that she even asked because we're not friends. We never have been. We were friendly strangers in high school. I just helped her out for one class because she needed help and I could give it to her. I was just being nice. But based on how she turned out, I'm just sad for her. 3 kids in 4 years, and she's alienated so much of her friends and family because of her actions. And I'm torn between feeling sorry for her and putting my head in my hand.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.